Well, I am excited to introduce Caru today, who is joining us. Caru and his wife Vi came to Spanish Fork from Los Angeles in 1981, having put a down payment on a small AM radio station with 5 acres of land. In 1991, they were able to purchase another 14 acres adjacent to that, on which they built a temple, which opened in 2001. And I'm curious, have any of you been to the Festival of Colors or the Krishna Temple in Spanish Fork? Shaylee, no one else has been to the Festival of Colors? All right, well, you're going to learn more about it today. Let me just plug your computer in. Sorry, bad intro. So then they later acquired 5 acres of land in Mill Creek and built another temple, which opened in 2019. Caru has had 1,000 podcasts and 300,000 downloads linked to the temple website, which is utahkrishnas.org. He also established the Festival of Colors in 1995, which annually reoccurs the last weekend of March, which you may have seen some of these posters around campus. Have you guys seen any of these really bright, colorful posters? So are you going to talk more about this today?
I have a short video clip, in fact.
Oh, great. So we're going to see a little video about this. This is March 28th and 29th, 2026. So coming up next month in Spanish Fork. And the original radio station can still be heard worldwide through the internet, as well as in Utah Valley on 1480 AM at krishnaradio.org. So please, there it is. There you go. So please welcome Caru Das.
This is our radio station. Okay, me, communication. That's my thing. That's how I'm.
We are that focus all on politics all the time and understand the ins and outs
That's
here.
not our radio station.
Why is this such a big deal for the State of the Union?
So I think if you study people that have been successful, entrepreneurial, of course, it's almost a cliche to say they followed their passions. And the money was incidental. They didn't make their decisions based on the income, but they made it based on their passion and their love, what made them tick, what made their heart race, what would make them spring out of bed in the morning looking forward to each and every day. So with me, it's communication. This is what I do. This is where I belong. The larger the crowd, the slower my heartbeat. I could be talking to 5,000 people, say at the Festival of Colors. I'm usually the MC. Surprise, surprise. And I wouldn't be surprised if my pulse was like 60 or 55 or something like that. It's just who I am. And I think that everybody is wired, created in a unique way. And before we go making decisions based on dollar signs, I think we want to do some soul searching, see who we are, who God created us to be. And I'm not talking in a general way. I'm talking in a very specific way. I think that God doesn't do carbon copies. He doesn't run us off the assembly line. He makes each one of us with his hand. We're a specialty item. We're handcrafted. And we're not ordinary. If you see a Porsche car or Mercedes, Lamborghini, or a Cartier watch, or a Rolex watch, why do you know that's a good product?
It's just like a lot of people have it.
No, more people have Casios. That's not the criterion. Why do you know those are good products?
Is it because it's expensive?
Because it's expensive? No, there might be a lot of crap that's expensive. But you're getting warm, I would say. Could it possibly be because of the manufacturer? Isn't it? When you know the manufacturer's Mercedes, the manufacturer's BMW, the manufacturer's Rolex, then you know you have a good product. They don't make second-rate, third-class products. What you got there? Oh, cool. Yeah. So we're made, your tag is God. You're made by God. And God doesn't do mediocre, he doesn't do average, he doesn't do ordinary. So if you start with this premise that there is actually no such thing as average, people may take themselves out of the game. They may discount themselves. That's another thing. But that doesn't change the fact that each and every one of us is unique and special. And we have something to give that nobody else can give, that nobody else can give. Like I'm in communications. So, but the talks I give, nobody else in the history of the world has ever given a talk with exactly like I'm giving it, like a talk has been given today. I mean, just think about it. I'm in an entrepreneurial class talking about how I came to an area that's 90% another religion with no money 45 years ago with a crazy idea to start a Hare Krishna temple in an area that's 90% Mormon. How does that work? If you do all the research and development in the world, there's no way that you could be successful. In those days, in the 1981, they didn't have a lot of research material available in the subject matter, but they've written a lot of books since then. It's called Planning a Church. Now, if you read a book, and there's lots of books on how to plan a church, the first thing you do is, before you determine where you want to make the effort, you go door to door in this prospective area, and you ask people, are you a church goer? You go to church. If 60% of the people say no, then you go to the next phase. But if 60% of the people say yes, you forget about it. There's no niche there for another church. So if you were to knock at every door in Utah Valley in 1981, what would be the percentage of people that go to church? Pretty much the same today, I think. What do you think? Anybody know their stats for Utah Valley?
90%.
Yes, 90%. And that's just LDS, right? What to speak of the smattering of Presbyterians, smattering of Catholics, okay? So according to R&D, you do not succeed in establishing a church in an area where 90% of the people are already committed. What to speak of a Hare Krishna? So anyway, the talk I'm going to give in this classroom has never been given in the history of the world by anybody. See what I'm saying? I'm talking about uniqueness. Uniqueness. The radio station, you just heard a song. There are 22,000 songs that I've created using AI in the last year, all about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Resourcing the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Puranas, the Vedic literature, the Upanishads. And they've all been taken from scriptures that are written in Sanskrit and Bengali and Hindi and Marathi and Tamil hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. And they're funneled through AI. And they come out reggae, dub, house, rap, hip hop, calypso, flamenco, Brazilian bass, tropical bass. There's actually a musical genre that I created called Hindi Southern Rock. There's another called Sitar Blues, which is one of my particular favorites, okay? And there's not one of those 22,000 songs, the lyrics of which or the instrumentation of which has ever been created in the history of the world. And there are 22,000 original songs. So do you get my point about uniqueness and individuality? I feel special, and I'm not bragging, I'm not egotistical in the least bit, I don't think. But I think it's factual to say that I'm making a unique input. I'm inputting in a unique way, which is, I think, fairly true to my character and fairly true to the thumbprint of God on me and fairly true to the way I'm wired. And hey, guess what? There's money in the bank. I don't know what, anyway, I have to apologize for some people for having such a good time and smiling so much. Yeah, we're in the black. We're actually in the black, at this point in time. I was able to spend a month in Hawaii. And what did I do in Hawaii? Well, I went to the beach. I had sugar cane and papaya, morning and evening, fresh squeezed. But another thing? They have Wi-Fi on the beach there. Can you believe it? I mean, that's considered of them. They actually, you can sit underneath one of those banyan trees in Waikiki or Ala Moana at a picnic table with your laptop. You can hook to Wi-Fi and you can make songs for your radio station. And you can alternate between swimming and surfing and body surfing, making songs, going to the Ala Moana Mall for a papaya juice. So at this point, do you have any questions? Yes.
Which denomination did you say you were from again?
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna. So this first slide, I mentioned, let me just, I don't know how much time, I know we're going to run out of time. But let me just back up, because I think that my experience is everybody wants to know who the guy is, what's your story, okay? So I went to India in 1969. I left America 3 years prior to that because of the Vietnam War. I did not subscribe to the war, to say the least. So I absented myself from the country. I was gone for 8 years. So I first went to Scotland and England, and I went to the Canary Islands. I spent a year in Israel working on a kibbutz, and then I hitchhiked to India from Istanbul in 1969. You could actually go overland at that time. So I arrived in India. I spent about 3 months there because India is a place for self-realization, yoga, all these things. But in those days, they didn't have the interconnectivity they do now. I don't even think Lonely Planet was published at that time. So I didn't really make a spiritual connection like I'd hoped to. And I ran out of money, so I went to Australia, just very cynically, to earn money so I could continue travels to more interesting places. And I was working in a construction center. I was working as a brickies labor in North Sydney, being spewed out of the subway one winter's evening. And a little flash of color caught my eye, and there was a Westerner, white-skinned Caucasian, dressed with a kurta, with a sika, a little ponytail, the clay on his forehead, and he was also wearing a dhoti. And I was like, that was the last thing in the world I expected. I was looking for that in India and didn't find it. And so here it was. And he himself was a missionary. He just arrived a month before, and it so happened that the little place they rented there in Potts Point was just around the corner from where my wife and I were staying. So we started visiting Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you ask me what attracted me to Krishna, it was the philosophy, the music, and the food, not in that order. When we have the Festival of Colors, one of the features of it is a big food court. We have our own Krishna's cuisine trailer with mango lassis, samosas, mata paneer, sag paneer. And then there's also another dozen food carts that serve falafel or dosa or pizza or Mediterranean food. We even have one vendor, he does Korean barbecue, but he knows we don't allow any meat on that day, so it's all vegan. It's all vegan. Ended up spending 5 years in Australia, and because the movement was just getting started there and I didn't feel good about leaving. Came back to America. I was the president of the Krishna Temple in San Francisco. I should spell that one more time because I didn't realize that many of you never had any. Krishna. And there's a Hari before it, Hare. And we're known as the Hare Krishnas because of our practice of chanting this mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the religion. The religion is chanting because religion has to do with always remembering God and never forgetting Him. So if you chant the name of God, you will what? Always remember him, and you'll never forget him. It's the most expedient, practical, simple technique for always keeping your consciousness in connection with God. Followed quickly, secondly, with Krishna radio. even I, well, maybe especially I, to just think of God all the time throughout all of your various activities, it requires an effort. I mean, you have to grab your mind and you have to say, think of God, think of God, think of God. But when you have a radio station that's glorifying God, it becomes much easier. So it's kind of a shortcut for me, and a catalyst and an aid as well. So we chant that mantra publicly. You heard My Sweet Lord by George Harrison, Boy George, all kinds of popular songs kind of are takeoffs on that. Krishna is a name for God, means all attractive. Hare is an invocatory term, O Lord, or energies of Lord, and so on and so forth. So that's our fundamental practice. The radio station is ordered to encourage people to chant either Krishna is the name for God or any other name of God, Jehovah, Allah, Govinda, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we came here, we put a small down payment on AM radio station and 5 acres of land. And we were living in that radio station. It was kind of a rundown radio station building. There was no place to live. But in 1987, we had gathered a few funds together and we built this ashram. It's a 3,500 square foot ashram on those 5 acres of land with a living room where we'd have our services. BYU, University of Utah Valley University, it's called Utah Valley Community College in those days. They would come along. And we had a full basement. Every Krishna temple in the world, there's about 800 of them. Am I speaking too fast? It just occurred to me. Because 40 minutes isn't long, It's like, it's not long. And I rap too, okay? So I'm kind of used to it. You're not the body you're living in, your eternal spirit soul, so where shall it begin? Every living entity, including you, is eternal. It's the inner self which is true, the outer body, misty like morning dew, musty and crusty after youth passes, earth to earth, dust to dust, ash to ashes. Infirm body versus immortal soul, learn the difference, conquer it, make a spiritual choice, sing out, give voice, rejoice, make some noise for the spiritual force. Every 7 years, each cell is replaced, the old body's erased, displaced, effaced, every cell is changing, you're always reincarnating. Question remains, who are you and what are you going to do about material contamination? You can ignore the concept and hit the exit by the nearest rooting stay and listen to lyrics and get a vision of the truth. Life of meaning, you're just trying to escape, you're just breathing, taking up space. Most people don't want to know, are not open, they don't want to know. The question I propose from me to you is, do you have the eyes to see? Soul is unborn, never grows old. You can tell by the way that we cry, trying to conform to a limited life. Death is so painful because we're not supposed to die. The soul is eternal. We know it inside, like, why should I change my body again? That's the beginning of human sense. If I'm eternal, why will external posture and pretense with time and bitter spent overcoming rebirth and rising high into the spiritual sky? We have free will to make our own decisions, but you have to face the reactions the way we've been living. Sense enjoying is fleeting and shabby. We do it over and over, but it never makes us happy. Not in our true nature, cater to all this temporary stuff, but it's never enough. We cage ourselves in this prison. We numb our conscious, crummy position, allow the media to condition to shop for addition to this body, which we are not. Ignorance causes dissatisfaction to the soul. We can't imagine why we're not happy. Then we grow, get crabby, and go cold. It's hard to turn back once the soul's been sold. If you don't know why you're not here, you might find out if you consider the soul.
All right.
So I evolved this playlist of rap songs because, as we'll get into it in a minute, if we have time, the Festival of Colors attracts a young crowd. In fact, when we first started the Festival of Colors, it's always the last weekend in March, which corresponds to spring. And so for many years, it was known as the unofficial Brigham Young University spring break. And they estimate around 2012 that 60% of the student body went to the Festival of Colors. And so just being the MC and trying to figure out what's the best entertainment and what young people appreciate, we ended up bringing up a lot of rap singers and all. But they weren't quite what I wanted. And so I just thought, well, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So I have about 40 rap songs. If you come to the Festival of Colors, you'll hear about 10 of them or so in between all the various artists.
So were you freestyling right there, or is that a song that you...
No, I wasn't free. I don't freestyle.
Okay.
I practice.
Okay.
I'm in awe of people that can freestyle. Yeah, I'm not that nimble brain, not at 79, I'll tell you that. So this is where we started, our humble beginnings. This is 1987. And of course, there's so much beautiful backcountry and trails in Utah Valley. And, it just kind of dampens your fun when you have to carry water and food on your back. So we heard about llamas. And we got a couple llamas initially, and they were great. They carry about 65 pounds. You go to Diamond Fork Hot Springs and all kinds of places. And then it just so happened that in those days, the price of llamas was quite inflated because there weren't many of them, and people wanted llamas. They just wanted llamas. And so we realized that there was some income that could be made from this towards building a temple. And we raised llamas, and we'd go to auctions, we'd buy them. I bought one, there was an auction in Ogden. We went up there and I bought a beautiful blonde llama at 10 o'clock in the morning for $500. In the evening after the auction was over, I was loading her in the truck and a guy came, he was late, he'd missed most of it. He said, "How much is that llama?" I said, $5,000. So I made $4,500 on one llama in one day. And so with 1 year, we made $80,000 selling llamas. We had a couple $60,000 years. So that was one of the ways that we raised the money towards eventually building a temple there in Spanish Fork. Needless to say, it's a great attraction for children and school groups and things like that. Every year at the temple, we have over 3,000 school children that come with the yellow buses on trips. They spend a half an hour leading the llamas around, getting pictures taken with the parrots and the macaws and the peacocks. And then we do a little yoga, we do a little music, question and answer, and generally have lunch at the buffet as well. This is my wife here, standing up on a rock. Here we are. Obviously, when I pull out my phone, I'm not accessing the AM band because you don't even have hardly any. So what we do is we put it on internet as well as streaming it on AM. We put it on the internet. So if you have this app, Simple Radio, you can get it anywhere in the world. When we were in Hawaii, we were traveling around in a rented car, and it was blasting on CarPlay the whole time as a trip. Last year we went to New Zealand. They had a color festival in New Zealand. They invited me to the MC. So we were driving all over New Zealand playing Radio Krishna out of Spanish Fork, Utah. We also have a website, Krishna Radio. You can pick up the stream right from the website itself. This is the temple. It's opened in 2001. There had been an additional, in addition to the 5 acres of land, there was 8.5 acres of land that became available next to us. It was owned by the Catholic Church. When I was in Australia, I approached the Catholic Church in Melbourne. They had a school and a residential facility right next to the beach that was owned by the Catholic Church that was for sale. And they wanted $168,000 for it. This is 1975. So I went as a representative of the Krishnas, and I said, "We'll pay your price." And they said, "There's one problem. We're not selling to the Hare Krishnas." So I had to get a businessman to buy it for 168, and then I had to buy it back from him for 188. So knowing that this land next door is owned by the Catholic Church, I didn't exactly call them up and say, "The Hare Krishnas want to buy your church." They were up in Salt Lake City, and as far as we were pretty low profile in those days, just working out of a living room. So I just said, we have a llama farm next to you, and we want to have more acreage for the llamas, and maybe we'll build a llama farm on it. So I lied. I did a bad thing. But we were able to get the land in 91. And here's an interesting story also. When you pursue your dreams, when you go out, the trail not often taken, these are the kinds of things that happen to you. Life gets surcharged with magic. So they agreed to sign over the land, give us a warranty deed, if we'd come up with a deposit of $25,000. So we had $17,000. And we needed, this is if you go up, this is the best piece of land in South Utah County. It overlooks I-15. It's prime land. So it wasn't going to last very long. And the selling price, $95,000. Now it's worth $500,000 an acre. So we had to raise the extra, $8,000 in a couple of days, and we had only 17. I didn't know how we could do it. So any of you heard of the Brian Summerhays music stores? Oh, yeah. They're at Provo, Orem, Ogden. They're all up the Wasatch Front. So he came looking for he wanted to buy a female llama. He lived in Sundance, and he wanted to have a llama and have some babies, and it would be a little backyard business. A lot of well-to-do people were doing that. So we're looking over the llamas. We had about 30 llamas, and we'd never sold a llama for more than $3,000. So I said, and we were looking at the girls. He wanted a girl, so I said, "Here's a girl. She's $2,500. She's $2,000. She's $3,000." And we had one llama, the Krishna color. Let me go back. The Krishna is described as Sham. One name for Krishna is Sham, which means the color of a monsoon cloud during the rainy season, sort of a bluish black color. And it's considered to be the most attractive color. We had a llama that was that color, bluish black llama. And we called her Shamin, which is the feminine for Sham. So Brian Summerhays, his glance just skipped over all the other llamas. And he said, "How much is that llama?" The Krishna colored llama, right? And I didn't think, it's $8,000. Remember, we never sold a llama for more than $3,000. But he wanted that llama, and he wrote a check for $8,000 right there. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got the land, we wouldn't be able to tell them, we wouldn't be where we are. So, and that's just one of hundreds of stories. We could be here all day.
We've got about 15 minutes left.
Okay. Here's the Color Fest. I wanted to introduce the chanting of Hare Krishna and vegetarians and people in a way that was on a big scale. And I knew about this Festival of Colors in India that had been celebrated for thousands of years. In fact, when Krishna was on the planet, God was on the planet, 5,003, how long did you say?
About 15 minutes.
15 minutes, okay. He celebrated. It was a way of enriching relationships between him and his devotees. And that's one thing everybody mentions about the Color Fest. It takes your relationships to a higher level. You can either come with your friends or enemies or both. It intensifies your friendship, and as far as your enemies are concerned, you can just like get all that frustration out, color them, give them boogies in the hair or whatever they call it, and then you can be friends again. Bury the hatchet and forget about it and get on with your life. So it's all about relationships. But I've experienced in India. I've been to India about 25 times. Each time I stayed 4 to 6 weeks, so I spent a couple of years in India altogether. I don't like the Festival of Colors in India. I don't like it because it's no longer spiritual, it's no longer religious, it's very rowdy. It's a lot of roughhousing. I didn't like it. But I thought we could get the best of both worlds and take this traditional seasonal festival and do it in America in an ideal way. So we started in 1995. At first, there were 3 Indians and 5 BYU students and 4 devotees. But every year it doubled. And around 2008, we had a pretty substantial crowd, maybe 4,000 people. And it kept doubling year after that. We didn't keep numbers in those days. It was just free admission until we figured we needed to charge something to just keep the bad elements out, But in 2012, it was free admission, and the Daily Herald, the headline was 60,000 people attend the Festival of Colors, which I don't think it was 60,000, but it could have been half of that or something. So at this point in time, there might be actually some video of it. I don't know what's going to happen when I push this button. I know it's in here somewhere. Okay, here we go. This is coming up in about a month or so. You're all invited. The soundtrack of that was Devin Graham, Supertramp, the producer. He did his own soundtrack. But the actual music, of course, the music is ska, dub, reggae, hip hop, rap, house. But the lyrics are all mantras, like Jai Ram, Si Ram, Hare Krishna, something like that. These mantras from India have been intoned, vibrated by saints and sages for thousands and thousands of years to purify the conscience, to awaken love of God, which is a dormant seed within everyone's heart. It's non-sectarian. Of course, at the Krishna temple, we chant Hare Krishna. But if you want to chant some other name of God, it's perfectly all right. The principle is the same. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Hallowed be thy name. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. The name has special potency on the absolute platform. The name and that which the name refers is non-different. So any bona fide name of God, you actually have God dancing on the tip of your tongue. In the relative world, you may say, my name Caru. Maybe they're saying my name in Spanish fork. Where's true? Well, just because they said my name in Spanish fork, I'm not there. I'm here. So there's a difference between the name and the substance in the relative world. You could say water, water, water all day long, but you'd end up dying of thirst with the name water in your lips. So the relative means there's a difference between that which is being referred to and the object. But in the absolute truth, especially in connection with any bona fide name of God, there's no difference between God and his holy name, which reminds me of another rap song. Chanting the holy names cleanses the heart, extinguishes the flames, breaks the chains, blesses the earth at large with moonlight rays, discharging waves of nectar our senses have been craving since ancient days. The holy names put all their blessing to shame. Krishna, Govinda, chanted anywhere, everywhere. The mercy Shakti is fully there. Divine app to restore your mental software, zap the malware, restart your heart, tap the reservoir with loving care. No hard and fast rules, no lessons, no school. It's the bliss of bhakti rare, yet free for the taking. Only declare your heart is aching in divine love awakening. Night and day by constant recitation, chant the great mantra without hesitation, free from temptation with the sensation. Feeling yourself lower in the straw in the street, more tall in the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. Humility is the key to enjoy the vibration eternally. Wealth in the millions, beautiful women, the spell of fame, worldly acclaim, even liberation. Hey, totally lame compared to the champagne of chanting the holy names. Krishna Govinda, though you're the one, second to none, my shining sun, I'm heartbroken in the ocean of birth and death. It's not worth the commotion. Pull me out of this cruel blender. Surrenders an atom in the sweet splendor of your tender lotus feet. Lord, when will my eyes pour tears of love like rain from the skies above? When will my voice choke up invoking your name? When in transcendence my bodily hairs stand on end? Though a moment appears like 12 years or more when you're not here, I've only proclaim your name and I'm smiling again. Even if you restrain me, muff me in your embrace, or pain me by hiding your face, you remain my Lord unconditionally. No matter what the difficulty, decline or gain, rain or shine, I am yours and you are mine. I say Hari, you say Krishna, Hari.
Krishna.
Hari.
Krishna.
I say Krishna, you say Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna. I say Hari, you say Hari, Hari. Hari. I say Hari, you say Rama, Hari.
Rama.
Hari.
Rama.
I say Rama, you say Rama, Rama.
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 I say Hari, you say Hari, Hari. Hari.
Hare.
Good job, you guys.
All right.
You chanted, you chanted Hare Krishna. Now you're official Hare Krishnas, but don't worry, I won't tell anyone. It's just between you and me.
So we've got about 5 minutes left, and I don't know if there's questions, but I wonder if you could tell the story about the guy that started. Yeah, is there another story you want to tell?
Just from terms of entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
the Festival of Colors generates income. So imagine, this temple we started with no money in a town of 20,000 people, 90% Mormon, ended up paying for a $2 million temple. The temple cost $2 million. The land around it was another $1.5 million. So $3.5 million Spanish for essentially, I mean, there's an Indian community and all, and they donated a portion of it. But the lion's share of the money that went to buy this land and build this other temple in Salt Lake City came from the Festival of Colors. Now, there was also another spin-off. As soon as our videos, and that video was from 2012, started going on the internet, I was getting calls from Color Run, from Indian Student Associations, from United Way. They had been doing 5 and 10Ks, and they figured out that when they add colors to the run, they get 3 times the participation, 3 times the income. So they're calling me, can you sell us some colors? And at first, I said, no, I want to keep it pure. I want to keep it, I don't want to commercialize it. I don't want to dilute it. But after a while, I realized they're gonna get their colors anyway. So they might as well get the colors from us, and then, we can fund, for instance, another temple. So I had brought about 1 20-foot container of colors per year from India. At this point, I started bringing 5 or 6 and then wholesaling. In fact, just before I left here, I packed up 50 boxes for a friend of mine who's a DJ in Los Angeles, and he ordered 10,000 boxes because he's got a whole series of Bali Pub events going on. Okay. I sent another 6 boxes to Harsh, the Hindu temple of Austin, Texas, because they're having their Holi festival, and so on and so forth. So it's a nice little business. I import. I just take the orders, and then I put the FedEx label on the boxes and ship them out again. And that also has helped generate income and make a very robust bottom line for us. And I don't take a penny. I mean, we went to Hawaii. We have our own, Social Security and things like that builds up because the temple takes care of us and all like that. And I was also active in the temple. They have a temple there in Waikiki, and I would go and give talks there several times a week. And I'm out on the main street there doing my busking also with my little speaker, and I'm giving my rap songs and things. For an average busking session of about an hour and a half, I would make $7 to $10. Not a raging success in that regard, but it didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm. What are the colors made of?
Cornstarch.
Cornstarch, okay.
Yeah. So that's now it's balls in your court. In the last few minutes we have left here, have any questions, comments?
You guys know everything there is to know now, right? No questions?
Yes.
Did you what are you in the temple? What else do you do? Besides the color festivals, the color ones?
We have services every Sunday at 5 o'clock with some chanting, and I give a PowerPoint. I've got 600 PowerPoints that I've given over the years on YouTube and iTunes podcasts and all like that. And every Krishna service worldwide is followed by a feast. So it goes downstairs and we have a vegetarian feast, and then they ask questions. So that's one thing we do. Another thing we do is we do school. We offer ourselves as a destination for school tours, field trips. We have yoga classes, just the traditional yoga, stretching and breathing. The teachers come from outside 4 nights a week for the public. We have a buffet, a vegetarian buffet that's open 7 days a week. It opens at 11 and closes at 6. There's 8 hot items, full salad bar, mango lemonade for $12, all you can eat, $6 for children. And of course, we have the festive colors, we have the festive lights. What else do we do? Anyway, those are the
The bird.
Yeah, well, it's part of the school trips, and we're just open for tourists. People hear about us, they Google us, especially members of the Indian community. They're going to Yellowstone, and they all stop in. We had a man come on Saturday morning. He lives locally, but he hadn't been to the temple in a few years, and I guess he's very successful. He called me, Shivam Shah, Gujarati. Gujaratis are very pious. Krishna spent a lot of his time in Gujarat. He said, Caru, I just wanted to tell you that I haven't been to the temple for about 10 years. We came down. My kids love the birds, the peacocks. We had a great lunch. He said, I want to send you a check for $2,500, So that kind of thing is not all that unusual. You do something that enriches life and makes people enjoy it, especially their kids and all like that. And there's so little of that around. There's so little bright spots nowadays. It seems we're becoming more monochromatic all the time, divided. And and set in our ways and closed in. It's a significant contribution to give something that opens people up, and they're more than willing to support you. The money is just incidental, really. The money comes. Because what's the use of money if you can't use it in such a way as to bring beauty into the world? Someone said, you're supposed to use money and love people, but unfortunately, most of what we do now is use people and love money.
I think that's our time. Sure.
Okay, well, thank you for your attention. I don't know about you, but I had a good time.
Yeah, thank you so much.